near you.
Well, hello, everybody. This is
Good
so much
afternoon.
fun. We have like a full house here. I'm going to introduce my guest co-host, and my Pappy, who I am now the favorite, just so you know, Brian. Right, Pappy? Tom Cantrell. And we have Brian and Sue Bland with us. Thank you so much for joining us today, guys.
Oh, thanks for having us.
Thank you so much. I'm going to go ahead and say hello to some of the people that have already checked in. We have way back, and I don't know if you're still in here, early on, we had Big Island Beach was here. Aloha. I hope you're still here with us. We have Lori Sue, and we have Little Twisted. Thank you so much for being here. Garrel from Midwest Night Watchers. And Kathy. Oh, she's from Nova Scotia, Canada. All right. Debbie,
All right.
welcome. Yeah, fellow Canadian.
On
Jane
way on the other side.
Yeah, yeah. Jane from Chiro. Thanks for being here, Jane. Hi, Trista Howard. And I think I got everybody covered. Yeah, smash that like button as you come in, please. Hi, Roger's here. Roger Blair. Awesome. All right. And if you can just remember to, if we have any questions for the guests, if you guys can just put them in all caps, and so I can keep track of them. And I guess that's it. So again, I want to welcome everybody. One thing I do want to, Grizzly wanted me to make sure that everybody knows, just kind of make sure that you have your you are subscribed to the channel and that you have your notifications turned on, because this weekend he's going to be doing some live from the scene on his paranormal investigations in New Orleans. So he'll just be in and out, and it's going to be kind of like, I think, a spur of the moment when he has time. So if you want to be sure to catch those. And so, yeah, so make sure that you're logged in, that you're subscribed and your notifications are turned on. And we also have Richard here from Yelm. Hey,
yeah, all the way down in Yelm.
Cool. All right. So
Tom's going to have something special going on there. I see him waving at people. He did that on our show. He's waving at somebody there.
Well, yes, of course.
He's waving at me. Just kidding.
We brought Sue along as an interpreter for these.
If I point towards you, it goes the wrong way. So
isn't that weird? I know, like,
it still did.
No, I was thinking people have heard so much of my stuff. We should get out and focus some of Sue's stuff on here. It's very rare we ever get her to come on a show.
All right, well, let's get Sue to tell us some things. And you know what? And as I was telling Brian before the show, I love to do like multi-part shows, and episodes. So we will definitely have you guys back if we don't get it all in today. I want to just, one thing I want to do is, and I want to show this amazing book that I read. And this is, where's your picture? Brian Bland. He wrote this great book.
I'm not the guy with I'm the guy with the bigger hat on there.
Yeah. You little puppy. Oh my God, so cute. Was that your dog?
Yes.
You still have
No, he's passed away.
Was that your dog? Is it your dog?
That was Sparky, yeah.
Oh, what a cutie. Oh my gosh.
So
he was
quite the dog.
Oh. So let's start with Sue. Can you just kind of, just a quick introduction?
Sure. Well, my name's Sue, and actually Tom and Brian and I go back a long way together.
These are my kids.
That's great.
Did we lose Sue?
I think maybe she's frozen.
Oh, there we go.
Okay.
Yeah, it might do that with both Brian and I on the internet in the same house.
Me too. So
yeah. Anyway, yeah, Tom was the first person I contacted, and I think that was probably in 2011, maybe 2012. When was your conference? Because it was
the conference was in 2012.
Okay,
April
then it might have
2012.
Then it was 2011. I just randomly got a hold of you, finding that you had a website, The Ghosts of Ruby Ridge, and saw your name, and you said you were open for questions about Sasquatch. So I think I popped you off an email and told you a little bit about my experience, and I said, can they really shake a truck with their footsteps? And you replied, oh yeah. So we started talking from then. And I think maybe a little while after that, Brian and you joined up, and Brian and I didn't know each other at the time. So you were helping me, and you were also helping Brian after that. Right. So we go back a long way.
That was a big job.
It was, yeah. Let me tell you, helping Brian got my ears cleaned out more than once. Arrie, his clan leader there, Brian would do something that he didn't like, and I'd hear about it. Get him under control. it kept the earwax melted. I never had to worry about overheating with the earwax.
Yeah. So yeah, Tom, you were definitely the go-between for both of us, and a big helper, and pretty much our first contact with somebody that could help us. And I finally met you at the conference. You hosted a conference, and I met you there. Right. But I continued to have experiences just on my own, and I believe you were probably the only person that I was talking to at the time, for several months at least.
Didn't you meet Arla at the conference?
I briefly met her, but I really, I don't know if we really spoke. I think we posed for a picture, maybe we had a little group photo or something, but I did meet. I was introduced to her at the conference, but I didn't really get to know her until she came out to Oregon. Right. And I was having my experiences on the east side of Mount Hood, which is pretty secluded. Not a lot of people are on the east side. It's a lot drier. It's further from Portland. It's pretty much just farmland all on the east side, just wheat fields and high desert, high plateau, that kind of stuff. Doesn't bring a lot of people to that side of the mountain. But that's where I was called to go, and I went. I just had the bug. I just absolutely had the bug. And of course, down the road, months and years later, you find out that you've been contacted before. You get flashbacks of things, and the X's and O's all line up. You're like, that's what that was. Or they tell you that was us. I had that happen one time in my living room. I had been backpacking as an 8-year-old with my dad and a little friend. And the little friend and I had an experience up in the Sierras when we were backpacking with our dads. And I didn't tell my dad about it. I just told her, we need to get back to our dads, because I saw what I thought was a red-haired hippie peeking out from behind a tree watching us play in the wilderness, right? Pretty way out of earshot from our dads. And we were young. We were 8-year-olds. And I saw that, and I thought that wasn't right. And I said, we need to go back to our dads now. And I kind of forgot all about that. I remember going back to our dads, but I didn't really remember the whole thing. And then one day in my living room, that whole scene came back in my mind, and I heard in my head, that was us. And I'm like, of course that was you. There was no strange man out there in the Sierra Nevadas, watching us from behind a tree. But so things kind of add up over time, and the dots get connected. And
Sue, let me ask you. So you said that was about when you were about 8 years old. Is that really your first memory of any sort of interaction? I guess, which that's fantastic. So
wow. that's my first memory. I had another experience of when I was in my probably 22, 23 years old, in the Kalamiopsis wilderness, which is down in Southern Oregon, where I grew up and went to high school, and was sleeping down along the Illinois River, not in a campground or anything. It was pretty rural and secluded back then, and was woken up in the middle of the night to huge boulders flying over the top of my head and landing in the river. And huge. I knew they were huge from the sound that they were making in the water, the way they were kerplunking. And each one got closer to the bank and just hightailed out of there. And all those years, from the time I was 20 until I had this awakening with them in my 50s, I had thought it was just a crazy man. I wasn't even rational about it. Like, no man could have lifted big rocks that big and over the top and into the water like that.
Yeah.
But all those years, I just thought it was some crazy lunatic up in the woods. Then it makes sense, Then you find out and you learn that that's a typical thing that they'll do sometimes.
Wow.
So yeah, so I guess I've had at least a couple experiences before this all hit when I was about, I guess, 50 or 48 maybe.
Okay. And then what? And then did things just start to
really
escalate? What happened?
I had an awakening, I guess is what you'd call it, just a spontaneous one day. It just everything. Chakras were open. Magic was everywhere. I remember sitting on my couch saying, magic is real. Wow, magic is real. And I had a huge, all of a sudden, overnight connection to the earth where I just would sob and say, I'm so sorry what we've done to you. And it was it was night and day. This wasn't really me. I was very black and white, and I didn't think I was very spiritual or open or anything. And it just came on so quickly like that. And that's I don't know if they instigated it or because I was open and awake and had this happen that they said, okay, she's ready to be contacted with or whatever. But all of a sudden I just knew I had to get up there on Mount Hood. It's like, I know they're up there, and drove myself up one night to camp by myself, which I had never camped by myself. I'd camped a lot. We always took the kids camping, lots with horses and pretty wildernessy areas and stuff, but I had not ever camped by myself. There was never any reason to. I didn't ever feel like I wanted to. But I drove myself up there one night and had a big talk to the trees and the bushes because I really was in this root chakra, heart chakra opening thing, where I was just really connected to the earth and just talked and talked and talked, and then got spooked out of my tent in the middle of the night and went to finish sleeping in the front seat of the pickup. And
tell me what happened.
Yeah. So I then fell asleep in the front seat of the pickup, and a few hours later, I woke up feeling a buzz like in the seat, and I was thinking snake. I was thinking a rattle. Outside it is hitting the tire or something. I'm feeling this slight little buzz, and the buzz came from. Well, it started out as a buzz, and then I started hearing footsteps way behind the truck, and I wasn't in a campground. I was just off a forest road that I'd never been before. And it started to be footsteps, and then louder and huger, and something started coming up from right behind the truck, and I just plowed myself into the side of the door, like trying to be as flat as I could. And I would have sworn it was a Tyrannosaurus Rex that was walking. By the time it got to the truck, it was so loud. And with every footstep, the truck was just pounding. Yeah. So it went from a little buzz in a pattern to footsteps to dinosaur footsteps, and I was terrified. I was absolutely terrified. And I was just thinking, please keep going. Please keep going. I really didn't think it was a Sasquatch, even though I was there to talk to them. And I had invited them. I think they had invited me, and then I had in return invited them to come visit. But I, I'll be darned, would have taken a lie detector test and said it was a Tyrannosaurus Rex that walked past me, right past my window, out the other side of the dirt road, and kept it going. And I just couldn't move. I was just kind of frozen for a couple hours. I just stayed on the side of the door and went home, didn't tell anybody for a couple weeks. And that's when I decided to get a hold of Tom, and I asked him, can they shake a truck like a pickup? Can they do that, really? Mm-hmm. And he said, oh yeah, they sure can. So, I think it was a test. It was a test. I had invited them. What's she going to do with this? So a bit of it was a test, I think. And it became more than me just thinking it was a test, though. I started wondering, how did they do that? And it was something to file away. And sure enough, more experiences were more illusions like that. That wasn't really happening. There wasn't really a Tyrannosaurus Rex walking by, but I knew at the time that's what it was. or, you know, other experiences where they have you think something's happening and it's not, and you would swear it was, things like that. So that was my very first experience, and I have to say it was terrifying, but I wasn't harmed. You know, it was
right.
It was something for me to absorb and think about, and you know, I went back. I didn't chicken out. I went back. I would say a lot of thanks to Tom for helping me through that, and also Brian, because I met Brian briefly, and just online. And he kept encouraging me to go back, but I really was scared for, you know, the whole summer. But I was back to camping by myself and hiking by myself again, and they would come visit at the house. I could feel them outside when they were outside, or they'd leave me, you know, big scratches in our dirt driveway, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my beginning.
And how about our pet deer?
Oh yeah. Yeah, Tom and I had a really, really fun experience up there on Mount Hood, a special place. And when we first got there, the wood knocking was all around us, all different tones, just on and on and on. Such a big welcome. And there was a deer that hung around that was out of place. She was by herself, not in a herd, and she was just comfortable, but she wasn't a pet. She would just yeah.
She bedded right in our camp.
Right, and we're in the, you know, Mount Hood wilderness here. It's not like there's a state park and it's a park deer or something. You know, it's a wild area, which brings me to something that just happened here. If you want to hear about it, as far as wood knocks go, we just recently, about 3 or 4 months ago, moved across British Columbia to the east side here, and have a beautiful place and woods and beautiful garden and acreage and stuff. Beautiful. And I was outside, and it was about 5 a.m, and I heard what I thought was somebody splitting a piece of wood, like where the neighbor's house would be. Like, you can't see it, there's trees, but in that direction. And I thought, what? Like, it's not cold enough for a fire, but it was only one crack, and I thought, nobody just splits one piece of wood, and I don't smell smoke in the air. They don't have a fire going. And then I heard another one, but it wasn't in the same place, and I thought, okay, now that's strange. Then I heard another one, and I heard one down by the trees, and I thought, I gotta go investigate what this is. Are trees exploding? Because I wasn't really sure of all these trees around here. I had never heard of trees expanding when the sun comes up, but I thought maybe they do here, like maybe they warm up and they crack inside or something. And as soon as I went down there, it just started all around me, just to the left, to the right, in front of me, behind me. And I still hadn't put it together that it was Sasquatch wood knocking. I'm still looking at the trees going, are they exploding inside still? And then, hey, this is why I'm linking this to Tom and I had heard when we were, the story before I was telling this one, I had heard one of the wood knocks sounded like a metal baseball bat on a pipe. It was a ping, like a really loud aluminum bat ping instead of a wood sound. Yeah. And as I'm going, are these trees really exploding? One of those popped out, and these are all only like 20 yards at the most around me. They're no further than that. And so then the metal pinged, and I went, oh, it's you guys. Thank you, thank you. Thanks for being here. And I think it was just a big welcome that we had gotten here. But, there it was. There was something in my memory and something from an experience of hearing such an odd wood knock that was a aluminum baseball bat sounding one, And then again, that's what made me click and go, oh my gosh, it's you guys. So
that's great. Oh
yeah. So wood knocks don't just have to be like you're splitting a piece of wood or a thud or anything. They can really pop out any kind of sound they want, I think. So I guess they've been here. Yeah, I guess they're around us, or they came to say welcome, or
wow.
Let us know they're around still. I don't know if it's a new clan here or if it's some that we've known already that came to visit or what.
Oh,
they're sure making themselves known though, whichever it is.
Yeah. It was so obvious when it just started all around me. It took me to walk down there. I guess maybe they were kind of leading me with the noises.
Yeah, just kind of
to finish that deer story though.
What's that?
To finish that deer story though,
ahead.
she came to us one year, and she'd lay right down in camp, and just stick right around camp. At first, I thought, well, she thinks it's safer here than it is out in the woods, because that's
Right.
when we were getting those tree knocks, those wood knocks, just regularly. I mean, every 20 minutes, the whole time we were there, from different angles
or even
around
sooner.
us.
Yeah, or even quicker than that.
Yeah. And every time we left and came back, there'd be glyphs closer to us, to where our camp was, up the little road that went into the wilderness area. And we went back to the same place the next year, and she was back. It was easy to tell it was the same deer because she had a mark on her hip.
Right. We compared photos also, and it was the same deer.
Yeah.
But I had been there a few times before in that same spot, and there was never a deer there. And I went afterwards, even after I moved away from the east side of Oregon and moved to the west side. I think I went back once or twice, and there was never a deer there.
We all did. We brought this other guy that's hanging around here with us.
Oh, she was there. She was there for that trip.
Yeah.
She was eyeing him.
Yeah. So it was fantastic. Finally, we figured out that she's just in a different shape. She had.
I was going to say, so that was not a deer, right? That wasn't
right.
It was a.
That's a conclusion we came to.
Yeah. It had to be.
Well, remember, I wasn't feeling good. I went down and laid in my tent for a while.
Right.
The flap was open, and I seen about 20 yards away that deer was looking right in.
Oh my gosh.
The whole time.
Wow.
Just standing there looking at me. So
she wanted to join him, I think.
Wow.
Well, I've seen Sasquatch looking through the eyes of enough animals, people, or anything really, and that seemed like one of those moments to me for sure.
Well, they're masters of energy, that's for sure. I mean, I think they can project anything, or pretty much become, or maybe merge, with wildlife or anything they want to merge with.
Wow.
And
And from there on, Sue and I branched out. We started going other places to camp.
Let's hear about some of that, but I just wanted to mention your. You didn't mention the footprint though on the. After those wood knocks, the day that we got the wood knocks.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Like a half an hour later, I didn't hear anything when I went out there. For some reason.
No, they stopped. I was having so much fun down there. I was almost jumping up and down. I was like, oh my gosh, thank you for coming. And I felt like it was a welcome to us, but I just felt so honored they were there. So I thought, I'm going to go grab Brian. So up to the house I went and woke him up and dragged him down there, and it was quiet as could be. There was not another wood knock. So we're like, okay, well, back up to the house we went, and went back up on the porch the way we had left. And there's a big, well, it wasn't big, it was very small actually, but a muddy footprint, and it was dry. Like, we do have a creek down there in the woods. And so I guess that's why this footprint was muddy, but there were, that's the only mud that there could have been was from the creek. And of course we hadn't been in the creek at all, but there was a fresh muddy footprint right on the front porch.
No question about it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was still muddy.
What size would you say it was?
Oh, yeah, it was not baby, but smaller than my foot. I wear like a women's 10, so I would say maybe like a woman's 6, 7, maybe.
Aww, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And what do you think, Tom? What size do you think that would be then? What is that?
I'd say an adolescent. Juvenile, just 8, 9 years old, somewhere in there.
That's awesome. I love that. Oh, you guys, that's
why don't we wrapping up around the house here? We've had a few things going on, but we had a friend of mine. It's interesting because the Sasquatch connected with people that were, like I got connected with Tom and with Sue, with Arla, and everybody just seems to get connected to the people that they're supposed to be connected with.
Yep.
And there's a guy out here in Cruston that said he was waiting for somebody to come out here. He knew somebody was coming. And then I showed up. so we started hanging out a little bit together. And the first time we went for a hike, we saw a significant cliff. This guy had never seen a cliff ever before. But you know how that connection thing works, and you know my connection with cliffs and whatever. But anyway, make a long story short, he came over and spent a couple of nights with us before he packed, or he closed down his summer place up by Creston here, going back to Victoria, BC. And he stayed with us for a couple of days. And one of the nights he said that there was a female Sasquatch and a voice that he knew from the past, and she asked him if he was all right, and was connecting with him, and it was really interesting. All the details, I'm sorry, but take it from there, Sue, because you were in the bedroom and you saw something, right?
Yeah, it was his second night of being here, and it was in the morning about 5:30. I was awake, and I was just laying in bed, you know, facing the window in the bedroom, and I saw a big shadow go by. Big, because we're that floor that our bedroom's on is about maybe 6 or 7 feet off the ground, and my eye level with my head on the pillow is at the bottom of the window, and I saw a shadow go by. So I thought, oh, I bet Don had something go on last night, and so I got up excited for him to come into the house. He said he was going to be leaving around 7 or so. I thought I might as well just get up and get some coffee going or whatever, hot water. Sure enough, he came in the house, and the first thing I said was, "Did you have anything happen last night?" Because he didn't the night before, and it's like I saw. He goes, "Well, yes, I sure did." And I said, "I thought maybe," and so that's when he told Brian and I, you know, the visit that he had the night before.
Wow. Had this gentleman ever been visited by Sasquatch before? Do we have, you know?
He's got a real close connection. Actually, Tom and Brian, I think, didn't you guys just interview him on your show?
Yes,
your very
we
last
did.
show?
Yeah.
He knows several in a clan that's, you know, up the lake from us quite a ways, but where he lives. And when he was saying goodbye to Brian out front in the truck, I was on the back deck, and I started hearing I would have thought it was a female voice. It definitely wasn't a bird. It was very faint, just going, I can't mimic it, but just a female voice, just kind of singing a short little tone. And I listened and listened. When I tuned my ear into it, I could hear it better. But as they talked, then he got in his truck, and as he started to back up and go out the driveway, it was fainter and then fainter as he left, and fainter. And when I heard his pickup wheels on the street, I couldn't hear it anymore. So yeah, it was sweet, wasn't it? So he had a pretty cool experience, and he didn't. Of course, Brian and Don didn't hear that because, you know, the truck's running and they're out talking in front of the truck and all that. But I was coming back from the woods, back by the cabin where he had stayed.
Wow.
Yeah.
So cool.
And I guess I have pretty good hearing. Brian and Don are both about half deaf, so maybe they leave it for me to hear things, you know, or
you know, I
just have a little role. Yeah, I have a little role in that sometimes, I think.
I wonder, because wait, I'm getting like do you guys hear that like feedback? Wait,
I think it's Tom. It's not me. Say something, Barb.
Okay. Hello, test. No, I don't hear it now. Okay, perfect.
Is it mine?
Hey, hi. How about you, Sue?
Maybe, I don't know. I don't hear it now, so that's cool. Thank you. So last night I got some pretty significant audio on my game. You know, I mean, not game, on our home security cameras that I frequently watch almost like every night. And I'm playing it for my husband this afternoon, and I'm like, wait, do you hear this? And he's like, I can't hear. I'm like, oh my gosh, what? And he's like, no, I can't. And I'm like, he's like, Barb, I believe you, but I just can't hear it. So I put it on the television and turned the volume up to like 100. And he's like, yeah, I can hear it now, but it's still faint. But I don't. So is it the tone, or is it just meant for us, or, you know, what is that about?
If it's low frequency, it could be he's at his age, he may be losing that low frequency hearing.
Okay.
Ability to hear that low frequency.
Okay, then that would, yeah, that's, and it was what you were saying, Sue, about how the ground, you can feel them coming, walking up, because I can hear that through my earbuds.
Yeah.
So when I'm listening last night, and I could hear that, like the percussion, of the walking up, oh my gosh, yeah, it's really, really cool.
Yeah, I love that. I love when they're walking around the tent, or running around the tent. That happens too, or marching in the gravel. I actually went outside my tent. I was solo camping again, and I'd had a couple of experiences before this happened. And every time I laid my head on the pillow, I would hear the walking behind my tent. And then I'd raise up to listen better, because my ears aren't crunched on the pillow. I'd raise up and it would stop. I'd put my head back on the pillow and I'd hear the walking again. And I'd lift up and I wouldn't hear it. So this went on and on for quite a while. And I literally thought, I'm never going to get to sleep like this, listening to this pacing back and forth behind my tent like this. So I actually went outside. I kind of knew who it was, and thanked him for being there, for keeping an eye on me. I was, there was nobody else for miles around, and I was appreciative of that, but I was never going to get any sleep, because it was just too exciting and too bothersome and whatever. Could he just be a little more quiet? And I went back in the tent, put my head on the pillow, and never heard it again, and crashed. So yeah. And later I was thinking, why didn't I just go sit down on a log and visit, But yeah, but I guess I wasn't ready for that yet.
And I get that, because I tell Tom this all the time. Sometimes it scares me, and because I'm still early, I'm only 2 years into this, and last night I was getting scared because you can hear in their, how large they are. You can hear that how big their lungs are when they're making noise, and I can hear the percussion, like I said, of them walking, and I'm starting to get scared, and I'm like, oh my gosh, stop getting scared, Bart, stop it. There's nothing to be afraid of. But I don't know what to, I don't know what to do about that. And I'm in my head, I'm saying, because I believe it's Mont who is the, I guess the alpha male. And he's done mind speak with me once and showed me that that's his name. So in my head, I'm going, Mont, I'm so sorry. I'm getting scared. I'm just so sorry. And then it was quiet for a long time. And I think I almost fell asleep. As I'm still listening, because it was so quiet and peaceful. But then again, it's I'm like, oh gosh. And then it woke me up and the adrenaline's going,
That's just a greeting, man. Ask him to help you get over your fear.
All
Talk
right.
to him and ask him to help you get over your fear.
I will do that. Because I feel so blessed to have them around, and it makes me, I get so mad at myself, but I mean, I don't know. It's just, something that'll.
I know exactly what you're saying. It's something that's just in our physiology, biology, makeup, that you just can't talk yourself out of it sometimes, and you want to, and you're like, why am I reacting? Why is my heart pounding like this? Stop it. And it's just something in our humanness that does that sometimes. But I bet you anything, you'll get over it. You'll get through it.
Sue,
oh, go ahead.
Sue, remember the one that fell on his face in our camp?
Mm-hmm. I do. We had, as soon as the lantern goes off, boy, watch out. We had a bunch of kids that were running past the tent and jumping off things, and one went running. Tom and I were sharing his great big tent at the time, and one went running by us, and then thump, 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 boom, just like a UN kid tripping and falling. But it was a beautiful, I think it was a full moon that night. The rainfly wasn't on the tent. We could see, except for where the canvas of the tent was, everything above it was wide open. I never saw a thing. You hear these footsteps, and it's just, they're invisible, and they're just trucking around.
They'd pick up our totes
water tank.
and shake them.
Yeah. Yeah, boy, they have some fun doing that. Imagine how fun that would be, though, if you know that you can't be seen and you can just really shake up people or make them laugh. Tom and I were laughing with those footsteps. I was having a ball listening to
that. In Georgia one night, I was laying on my cot in my tent reading, and they were running back and forth, and it stopped right outside my tent. And I looked over my head out the back through the window of the tent, and here's his hairy face looking in at me.
Oh, lucky you.
His eyes got about that big, and away he went.
Oh, that's cute. I know that one night when they were running so fast through our camp, I was just looking and looking through the screen, where the rainfly should have been. I was just hoping to catch the top of the head or somebody, but nope.
Wow.
Wasn't for me to see them. Mm-hmm. I think the neatest one that I have seen was whipping right past Brian and I, and that was in Golden Years. We were just on a trail in the middle of the day, and my peripheral vision caught him right off to my side, not 6 feet to my right. And then the rest of my eyes tracked him go straight alongside us and disappear into a tree. But right behind him was a trail of like 7, I'm trying to get my fingers right on here, like 7 gray lions that caught up to him. They were lagging behind him. So it was his body and these lions that followed. And they stopped at the tree too. Whoa. So that was pretty cool. And I think that was probably Little Bud because it wasn't a very big shape. Yeah, I think he was always shagging Brian in those days. Wherever Brian was, you could probably find Little Bud.
So was that energy, do you think, that was traveling?
I think it was just his essence or energy or something. But it wasn't keeping up with him. It was kind of like in the Roadrunner when he gets his feet spinning and then off he goes.
Yeah.
And then the dust kind of follows him. Yeah, it was exactly like that. And I've talked to one other person that actually has seen the same thing. So it wasn't just a unique thing. There's something going on where when they're zipping from solid to cloaking maybe or something, it's part of something left that's not quite, they're outrunning it or something, a piece of their aura or something.
Well, we have a question from Sunny. Have either of you seen Bigfoot's teeth when they smile or growl at you, and what do they look like? So whomever wants to, you can all take this if you like, or
I bet Tom has.
Yeah, I have. I wrote the answer. They're just like ours. I mean, they have huge incisors. They may have a double row of molars, but they have a single row of incisors with a part you can see, but they're just huge, absolutely huge. It's quite a sight to see them. Sue, what happened when Jeff Rohn invited us to join him?
Oh, that was the big healing night for you.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yeah, I got to witness Tom having heart surgery.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, again, that was the same summer. We just did a lot of putting around and camping together. Tom and I did. I don't remember what year. Was that 2013 maybe?
Was that about that? Yeah, I think.
I think it was. Anyway,
yeah,
Tom was really, really sick with his heart, not in the right rhythm and real weak, very, very weak, having trouble breathing and knowing that his heart's not working right and barely able to make it to bed that night. And I guess, at the campsite, at the campfire that night, we were thinking, yikes, I hope he's going to be okay. Luckily I was sharing the tent with him. I tucked you in, got the heater on and all that stuff, and you seemed to be okay for the night. But I woke up early morning to a vibration, loud sound. I know that, Tom, you only heard it coming out of your chest, but I swear it was next to me, up above me too, huge, 10, 12 feet tall. And it was being projected through the tent wall, like over me, over the top of me, towards you. And that went on for a good 2 or 3 hours. Every every 3 or 4 seconds, it was like an electrical sound, you know, like like you'd see on a transformer that's blowing up, or a power line that's, you know, high voltage sounding. It was that noise, and it was pulsing. It would just
and it was hot enough. It left a red spot in the middle of my chest.
Right.
It was there for months.
Right. Yeah. So they were working on Tom. I was in my head saying, "What do you want? Do you want me to do something? Do you want me to come outside?" You know, I wasn't getting any feedback whatsoever. It was just going on, and I was just witnessing it. But yeah, in the morning, Tom, you pretty much skipped out of that tent. Like, you had so much energy and you felt so good. You were a whole different person.
Yeah, it was day to night. Yeah, it was different.
Right.
That's
and the scar that was left on your chest, it was a triangle about that big, indented into your flesh. And it was pretty red. But I think over the course of the next few years, it's faded, right? And filled in.
It faded, but it was there for 5 years.
Yeah, I remember it. Yeah, that was
finally went away.
Yeah. So they're, my goodness, they gave you the gift of life for sure, right then.
And that's just one time.
Yeah.
Yeah. They did the same treatment. How many weeks later was it when we went up to Idaho?
Maybe 3-4 weeks, maybe.
Was it that long? I thought it was 3, but
maybe 3.
They did the same thing again there, but not as long and not as in depth, and it didn't burn me. But I did hear that same treatment, the same footprints outside the tent where we were.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I never heard any footsteps. I knew it was them, and it was huge, powerful somebody right next to me. And then you said somebody was on your side too. Like, you felt the presence of somebody with you, whereas I only felt the presence where I was on my side of the tent.
I'm sure there had to be more than one of them doing that. That was.
Can you imagine? Yeah. Right.
Absolutely unbelievable, because I knew
what
I
did
was
you
headed for.
What did you feel when that was happening? Could you feel anything going on?
Oh, I could feel it. Yeah, it was a buzz right there, right.
Oh my
gosh. Right over my heart. Because I was so bad, I really thought I was headed to the hospital the next morning.
Yeah, we did too.
If I made it to the next morning.
Wow.
Yeah. I remember thinking, how is nobody else hearing this? There was 8 or 10 of us there. We were at the end of an old logging skid outside of Estacada somewhere. You know, definitely wilderness again. And but I was thinking, how are they sleeping through this? And apparently some of them woke up hearing Tom and I talking, walking through the camp and walking out, out the logging road, talking to each other while this was all going on. Yeah, that's what they heard. And none of them went out of their tent, knowing what condition Tom had been in the night before. None of them went out and said, "What are you guys doing? And how is Tom even out here in the dark walking?" Right? So sometimes you're persuaded that everything's hunky-dory. Have you ever had that happen where you hear wood being slammed around and yet you think, "Oh, I don't need to wake up my partner here," or "I'll just go back to sleep. I don't need to go out of the tent." You're just in this little happy sing-song space. Yep. It's like in the morning, you're like, "What the heck? Why didn't I go out?"
Wow.
Anyway, that's what they thought. As odd as that would have been for a scenario, right? For somebody that's very, very almost in critical condition the night before, to be walking out in the dark, talking to me, just chit-chatting and walking out the road.
Yeah.
I asked him finally, when everybody in camp except for 2 heard us, one who had taken sleeping pills and the other gal her tent was way off on the corner on the other end of the landing. I said, "Okay, if you heard us talking, what were we saying? What were we talking about?" Well, we couldn't hear words, but you guys both have very distinctive voices, and we could tell it was you. So, yeah, wow. I said, I never left my deluxe mattress even,
Yeah, neither one of us. You were busy being operated on.
Yeah, I was going to say you were in your operation.
Yeah,
No.
But yeah, I was so happy to see that you were feeling so much better and you were just a whole different man in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Absolutely
So-
incredible. You know, I've heard that a couple of people that have told us about that feeling of being healed. It's just incredible.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't,
They've done it to me several times. My teacher comes to me quite often with treatments for my heart to keep it running strongly, even though it's a atrial fibrillation 100% of the time, has been for over 20 years, 22, 23 years. It still keeps me going. The rest of my body's wearing out, but it's still going.
I think they're pretty dedicated if you're connected to them or they are connected to us or our mission isn't complete, you know, why we signed up to be working with them or for them or through them or assisting or whatever reason we're here with them at this time. I think they're pretty dedicated to making sure that, you know, if we still have work to do, you know, them come through and help out.
Yes.
Seems to be.
So.
That's not to say they're going to save everyone's lives.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's just to say if there's something pretty important that wasn't accomplished yet, maybe they do intervene.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Brian, we haven't heard from you.
No.
Is he ever this quiet?
I know. I've never heard this.
And that's unusual.
I know. I was just thinking.
He's just sitting there
Great.
on his mountain, kicked back.
I'm just sitting back listening.
Tell us about the time you got lost and they pointed you the direction home.
Oh yes.
Oh gee, you've only got how many more minutes do you have?
Well, we can go. We can go longer. We can go over. We can go like, you know, hour and a half, whatever.
Oh really?
And we're gonna definitely have to set you all up for another show because this is gosh, this is fantastic.
Absolutely. We haven't even started with
yes.
Yeah, well, I mean, I can talk about a lot of different things. That's for sure. Which one did you want to hear? The one with when I got lost?
Yeah, that's what he said when you got lost.
Okay. Well, anyway, when Sue was from Oregon when we met, and I was, I'm from British Columbia, Canada, and I used to go down there after working 12-hour shift for 9 hours, like straight, along the I-5 or I-5, I guess. She gives me heck when I say the I-5. That's a Canadian thing, I guess. Driving down the I-5, I think it's just
California thing, Canadian.
Just driving down I-5.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so I was, when I get there, I'm really, really beat. That's a full 12-hour graveyard shift, and that big drive. I'm amazed that I didn't get in an accident. Somebody was guiding me for sure, with the many times I did it. But anyway, so one time I got there and I was really particularly tired, but Sue wanted to go on a hike the next day, and I had agreed to it. Well, I probably should have said, well, it usually takes me a day to recover, right? But anyway, we went on this hike, and my hearing's not that great. So we're walking along, and as soon as we got out of the car, I saw these glyphs. And to explain what glyphs are, that's the stick writing that I can communicate with them back and forth with, and that other people can do it too if they understand them or they get their connection with them through the glyphs. That can be possible for them too. But anyway, I automatically saw these two glyphs, and they were two sticks placed side by side, and I think that represents like a pathway or a walk or something. But it's not one of my favorite ones that I really know the meaning to. I know the meaning to maybe about 10 or 12. But that one I see a lot, and I just haven't come up with a definitive meaning for it. But I think it means pathway. So when I saw it and I took note of it, I saw it right away, right? This is very important to the story. So then Sue and I are walking along, and all of a sudden she starts going up this hill, way up the slope. And like I said, I don't hear very well, and I'm very tired at the same time. I said, I'm not going up there. I'm not following you up there, and I'm yelling up there. And she was apparently saying, just wait, I'll be right down. But I didn't hear that, so I just said, screw this. because I'm a little grumpy, I guess, too, to tell you the truth. So I said, screw this, I'm just going to go back to the car and meet her there, right? And I think I yelled that up too. I don't know if she heard that. Anyway, I didn't find my way back to the car.
Oh.
It was at least like, I think about an hour and a half. I'm wandering around, going around in circles. I'm going up these mountain like logging roads.
Oh my God.
I'm going all over the place and I'm not recognizing anything at all, right? And the fall is upon us. There's nobody around. I'm thinking I'm going to have to gather firewood and I'm going to be here. I'm lost, right?
Oh wow.
I'm going to have to be starting to gather firewood pretty soon. But at that point, after I came to this opening, and it had trails that went off in about 4 different directions. So when I was there, I just said to the Sasquatch, I mean, they have helped me many times before. They don't just do stuff on a frivolous whim or whatever, but if you're connected to them and your family to them, and you're in trouble, they'll come through. At least that's been my experience. So I said, hey guys, and I just said it like that because that's how I talk to them, because I just talk to them like they're regular people, because that's the respect they deserve. So I just basically say, hey guys, I'm lost here, and can you help me get back to Sue, because otherwise I'm going to be spending the night, and it was going to get probably below freezing, and I wasn't looking forward to starting a little fire by the side of the logging road or something. So anyway, I decided to take one of the four little trails, and I'm going up this trail, and I'm going along quite a ways, and I'm thinking, I'm not seeing anything that looks familiar, and I'm just about to turn around, and I saw the 2 sticks side by side pathway, right?
Oh my gosh.
And I was thinking, oh my God, great, I'm back, because I knew that we had just got out of the vehicle when I had seen them. And my sense of direction is terrible, which I shouldn't be out in the woods all the time. But anyway, I said, we're back. I'm back, right? So if I hadn't seen that, I was just about to turn around and go back, because I didn't recognize anything. I was just about to turn around and I saw those 2 sticks. Okay, I'm back. And then I walked about 2 or 3 more feet, and I saw Sue up just on the edge of where the little path crested onto the road. I saw her driving by really, really slowly. And so I yelled up to her and I said, oh, thank God I made it back. I made it back to the vehicle. And she said, what do you mean made it back to the vehicle? You're like a mile away or 2 miles away, Sue?
Probably just a mile. Maybe 3/4 of a mile.
I was a mile away from the vehicle. But the funny thing is that Sue, as she's up on top of this hill, it felt like somebody was guiding her, right, Sue? Like,
oh, well, yeah. After waiting at the car for an hour, knowing that you're not probably coming back, I was thinking I should probably head down this hill very slowly and yell every so often. Maybe I'll catch a wind of my voice or whatever. But something was stopping me. Every time I did this like 4 times. I turned on the engine, ready to go real slow, and something, just my intuition or something was saying, no, wait, don't go yet. And that happened like 4 times, and then it didn't. And I went down the hill and went about a mile, and there he was flagging me down. The first thing I said was, why did you cross the road? Why are you on this side? When we were always on that side. I was so happy to see him, though. Yeah, I felt very much guided as to when to start that. It was the perfect rendezvous,
Yeah, but the thing is they knew. See, they don't follow linear time like we do. So the time, past, and the future is basically all the same for them. So they knew when I first came upon those 2 things that they were going to be used to rescue me later.
Yeah,
it's incredible. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that was perfect. I mean, that's being saved for sure, because you were heading right back down to the road where I was, right where I was passing you right then.
Yeah, and like you said, if you wouldn't have seen those 2 lines and knew what they were, you would have just kept on going. Wow.
Now, it would have been a lot easier if they just told you, take a left, take a right. The road's right down there. Just
they did it because they know my connection with glyphs and how much I looked at them. They knew I would take note of it, and that I wouldn't forget that when I was being rescued. Because if those 2 sticks had not have been there, I would not have walked those other few steps and caught up with Sue. I would have turned around. So they were holding Sue up there just at the right time for me to find my message and not turn around and connect us, So it was just thought placement and just guiding us and just the wonderful things they're capable of.
Yeah, I wasn't waiting because I thought, oh, he's coming along. He's just not here yet. I knew that because I followed our footprints back to the car, and I saw yours go off on another trail. Yeah. And I thought, okay, I hope he makes it back, but I'm not going to go that way. Yeah, and I followed our footprints all the way back to the car again, our shoe prints. And so I knew that you were not coming up the way we had left. I knew, that's not why I was waiting. It wasn't because I thought you were coming along. It's like, oh, he's somewhere lost somewhere. The timing was everything.
Now, Lorna is saying, it would be interesting to hear what the different glyphs mean. For example, the cross branches, straight line branches, etc. Can you just
why don't we save that for when we have them back?
You know what? That is great, Tom. Thank you. That is perfect. Yeah, because
I can quickly say something to it though.
Okay.
Yeah. I can say something quickly to it.
Okay.
I've never heard something quickly in my life.
People are constantly asking me what's the meaning of the glyphs. But the thing is that if you have a connection to glyphs, it's a telepathic kind of connection, and you start realizing they're putting thoughts in your head and they're guiding you places and they're teaching you with all these subtleties and all these energy things that are like telepathy, but different applications of it that are just like so advanced, right? So with the glyphs, the X, for instance, some people think it means keep out. Other people think it means friendship welcome, which is what I think. Other people think it means whatever they want it to think. And they'll all be right if they're being true to the connection and listening, because the meaning is established between you and the Sasquatch people who are connecting with you through them.
Right.
And that's what it is. So I can read, maybe a dozen of them, and I can read sometimes when they're putting them all together in a complicated message or whatever. And sometimes I have an instant knowing or whatever. But the thing is it is unique to you and whoever is communicating with you through those glyphs. And so people are always asking me, I'm trying to tell them this. I'm not getting it like I'm frustrated, but I'm just trying, but I tell them over and over again, the meaning is between you and them. Don't go looking for what Joe and Joseph, whoever from Russia or Siberia or whatever gets, because it's not going to mean the same. Don't let somebody tell you that the meaning of your personal glyph or the personal communication between you and them. It's got to be personal. And
much of it is connotation. Is you have to know how it's used. You take the word, just take the word BOW. What's it mean? It can be a ribbon in the hair. It can be the front end of a ship. It can be a bend at the waist, or it can be something to launch an arrow with. If you don't know how it's used, you really don't know what the word means. So you have to have a connection, like Brian's talking about, to understand them. Okay.
Do you think, Lauren's asking, do you think they make signs for each other?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes, absolutely. Yeah. Most of them are for each other.
Okay. And what would they be? What examples that you can think
direction.
of? Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then she said, what, like wood knocks? Is that or is that something? I think that might be.
Actually, wood knocks are not wood knocks. They're made with their mouth.
That's what I think too. Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because we talked about that. I hear that many times here, and I'm like, at first I'm like, what in the world are they clacking together? But then,
however, because we perceive that they do it with a club and hitting a tree with a stick.
Mm-hmm.
You will, I'm wondering if they're actually doing it, or they're doing it because that's what they expect us to see and associate with that sound.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's how detailed these people are, and they could give you any audible, visual, or sensory perception they want, which Sue spoke of earlier. When she was talking about the gravel or the construction.
No, I was talking about the wood knock that I had remembered from years before that sounded like a metal baseball bat on a pipe. Right. Yeah. It was amongst wood on wood sounding ones. It was very out of place sounding.
If there's a memory in your head, and it could be something, a sweet memory or whatever, or something that you will know and will not be able to deny, that has to come from something of some knowledge of you or whatever. I mean, they can pull a memory out of your head from 50 years ago and present it to you so that you have no doubt what's going on. It can be an emotion, it can be a sound, it can be a number of different things. But
so cool. I love that.
Well, okay. This has been absolutely lovely. I mean, I knew you guys would knock it out of the park. Because I taught them to. Oh, never mind.
We're definitely, oh my gosh, we haven't even scratched the surface. And so
it's
probably going to be a multi-episode series, but I'm telling you, everybody is freaking out in our chat. They're just loving it, loving it.
We literally haven't even started talking about, we could start talking about some real powerful lessons, their message to us,
all right.
All the abilities that people claim they have that we've witnessed and stuff like that. It could get real interesting.
Just your trail with them, just your history with them is a whole show.
Yeah. So what we'll do is I'll get with everybody, and we'll set up some more episodes. We're probably going to need maybe a 3-4 part. We haven't done a 4-part series yet. That's what we need.
Are we done?
No. We're closing up, but I do want to say, I do want to talk about. Do
you want to hear one more story though from Sue?
Yes, sure. We have time for that. Absolutely. Yeah.
So let's get in. No, you probably want to hear this. I mean, let's do the owl story. Remember?
Which owl story?
At Mike Lake.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, that's a great one. That's one of the most shocking and fun and uplifting stories I can think of.
Let me just take.
You can do it.
Beginning of it, and then we'll let the meat of it, and then I'll put in some comments. Okay. But anyway, I had lost my drum that I always went out and played my songs to the Sasquatch people, and play with my heart and whatever, because that's how you connect with them, is through the heart and higher vibration. So I'd go out there and sing and laugh and do all that stuff, and I lost my drum, and I didn't have it for like months and months, and then all of a sudden this person got a hold of the drum maker and said, "We found this drum. Do you know whose it is?" And it was a unique drum, just unique to me. And so nobody else could, he knew exactly who it was for. So I got my drum back, and we went over and picked it up from these people, and they were amazing. And they really took care of it and even had it up on the wall, which I respected. And so Sue and I decided we were going to go to Mike Lake and do some drumming and just get into with the energy of the Sasquatch people. So take it away, Sue.
Oh, so we did. We drummed and drummed and drummed, and you sang, and all of a sudden, I think you put your drum down. I don't know if I had mine there. I might not have, but we started hearing some owls hooting, one across the lake, one to the left, one to the right, and I think by the time we both heard the third one, we were talking about it. And I said something stupid like, well, the Sasquatch make owl calls. Like it was an obvious thing. I don't even know why I said that.
No. Well, the reason she said that it was because I was saying, well, it sounded like it sounds like owls to me.
Yeah, I think we were just in discussion. Is it owls? Isn't it? And then I popped off with that.
Because I always try to use discernment, I mean, it kind of sounded like owls until it really didn't. So
as soon as I think it was immediately after I said that, or maybe you said, well, duh, we had just a short little conversation right then. Right behind us, not more than 30 feet, maybe 40 feet, up by the parking lot where we had parked the car was incredibly loud multi-vocals. All at the same time, all in unison, but they were all different. One was a coyote yipping, one was like a scream, one was a hoop and a holler, one was a whoop, one was
yell.
They were just all different, all really loud, and all at the same time. And it lasted for about maybe 6 or 7 seconds, and it went on, and that seems like a long time. And we just smiled and couldn't believe it. And so it was definitely like a celebratory kind of a call. But it was, what was so cool was it was so many things. I think there was even it was whoops, screams, yells, coyote yips, and I can't really remember what the rest were, but it was several. It was several different vocals all at once. Yeah. And real loud and real close. So we thought,
and you've got to remember this lake where they are, Mike Lake, is at the end of the road, okay, in a provincial park in BC, Canada. There's nobody else there.
No, there wasn't. Okay. There wasn't.
Yeah.
It was right at dusk, and there were no cars, no people, nothing. We had it all to ourselves. It was just a beautiful, sunset kind of a time. But yeah, that was really special. It was just, you could just tell it was just happiness. Happiness was eluding, but it was like, yes.
Like they were showcasing all of their sounds.
Yeah. I don't know if there was, if there were 7 different vocals in that, I can't tell you if there were 7 individuals doing each one, because my gosh, they're, like I said, they're masters of energy. They're they can give an illusion of almost anything that they want to. But
like Sue was saying though, before that, they did it right after she said, well, they sound like owls, don't you? And as soon as she said that, then yeah,
oh my God, I love that.
And it was just like, it was literally sounded like about 12 voices, and it was just like intense, and it felt like I felt to me like I was in another dimension, like, whoa, this is like surreal.
They were setting all that up with the owl calls so that we had their attention, or they had our attention, I guess. We were listening all of a sudden. We were focused on listening. But I think it was mostly that you're so happy to have your drum back. I really do. I think it was just that we were having a good time, and you were reconnected with that drum that had, oh my gosh, I don't know how many thousands of hours you had spent with it, until you lost it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's lots that we could talk about connection with them and family things and all that stuff. But I guess we can leave it at that. But that sort of speaks of their heart, though, to the heart, to the people that they connect with. That's the kind of stuff that they do. Right?
They're very supportive.
Yeah.
Oh, that's your phone.
You getting a call?
Well, that phone call's not very supportive.
Yeah, your phone's ringing. No. Well, I'm gonna hop off here. Thank you, Barb. Thanks, Tom.
Thank you, and we'll definitely have you back. And before I just, can you just tell us how people can? Do you have a YouTube page, Facebook page?
No, I'm just on Facebook.
Okay.
You can find me just as one of Brian's friends, or my name, or whatever.
Okay. And what about you, Brian?
Well, I'm on Facebook under my name, and then we got the Pork and Beans group on Facebook, which is where we do the Pork and Pappy show, where Michael with the Pork and Beans show about 6 years ago. A lot of good content, a lot of good people, and anybody can come on there and share anything they want, because most of us, somebody or other has experienced what you're going to talk about in there, and nothing's too far out.
I love it.
And as far as YouTube channel is something I really enjoy, because I got about almost 800 videos on there, plus every pork and beans and pork and pappy show, and a bunch of just personal teaching videos from the Sasquatch that are very important to me. And that's Sasquatch BC, the true story, / the pork and bean show, I think, or something there.
I'll put the link to that in the permanent comments after the show. Yeah. And so how do people get your book?
Well, I wish they didn't have to get it on Amazon, but because they charge you too much. Unless you want a black and white one, I guess it's reasonable, but it's on Amazon.com or Amazon.ca. Okay.
And then is there can they get one through you? Is that possible? If they want a black and white one, is that what you're saying?
No, it's still, I don't really have any on hand. They can just get them through Amazon.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's.
But if they do, reach out to me.
That's one thing I couldn't teach him.
What's that? What did you say?
I tried to teach him that. They couldn't teach him that.
Well, if we can have the Sasquatch, they really need to start like a printing company, right?
There you go.
Well, again, everybody, thank you so much. This has been, oh my gosh, this has been so fantastic. I mean, the time has just flown by. I've learned so much, and I can see that the viewers, that they love it. Thank you, Tom, for your time. And
you notice my drug dealer just came by.
Oh, okay. It's all legal. It's all legal, right? Brian and Sue, thank you guys so much.
Yeah, amazing. It was great.
And definitely I'll get in contact with you right after the show. I'll shoot you guys some dates, and we can firm up some plans.
Sounds good.
So everybody,
thanks so much.
Of course. Yeah. Thank you for joining us. And any final words, Tom? I
just I did want to make the statement. Rendezvous 25, going back to Elk Meadows, Buff Creek Country, next August. It's on, okay? And anybody's welcome. We are going to have a limit on how many can go, but just get a hold of me and let me know if you want to go.
Did you get my email?
You can go to my website.
All right.
Go to your website. All this.
That's just tomcantrell.com.
You said the Twang one. I emailed you to your Twang, your TWANG address.
Oh, that's my email. The website is tomcantrell.com.
Okay.
I
emailed you a confirmation to your email.
Okay, super. It's Twang because I used to be an archer, and that's what my bow said to me when I shot it.
Well, everybody, again, this has been such a pleasure. Thank you, everybody, for just being here. And next week, I will be broadcasting from the Washington State coastline, and I'm going to have Brown Dwarf as my guest. So please, tune in again, and make sure again that you have your notifications and everything's set up for the channel and for my channel, which is just Barb Hartman or No Drama Bigfoot and Cryptids. And so you don't miss anything. And because you're going to want to catch Grizzly and, parts of the live paranormal investigation that he's doing this weekend. So, all right, everybody from coast to coast and around the world, have a great night. Thank you.
Bye all.